Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Scott Howell.
Hello, good neighbors, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast, brought to you by the Friends and Neighbors Group of Cleveland and the greater Chattanooga area. My name is Scott Howell, and I'm your host for today. For all you first-time listeners that might be wondering what this podcast is all about, the purpose of the Good Neighbor Podcast is to bring awareness to the residents living in our communities regarding the locally owned and or operated businesses that are in Cleveland, Dalton, Chattanooga, and everywhere in between. So, the small local businesses are the backbone of our communities, and they really need our support. Joining me today on the program is our good neighbor, Anthony Lambert, at the baseball mission. And Anthony, thanks for being our special guest today on the podcast.
Hey, man, no problem. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, sir. And before we get into talking about the baseball mission and what all that you offer there, would you like to share anything with us regarding yourself and your family?
No, we've been in Cleveland for 27 years, and my wife was born here, and I got married and moved up here, and love Cleveland, and been owning a business for going over 10 years now here.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. You said you're trying to get your daughter a car. Is that what you was telling me?
No, my wife. We're wanting to trade in vehicles.
Oh, okay. All right.
So she's tired of having the Jeep and ready for a car.
I understand that. Well, let's just jump in and talk about the baseball mission for a moment. What is it that y'all do over there? We train athletes, baseball, softball. We do personal training just to help the athletes get better. Our goal is to help them on and off the field, and just let them to enjoy sports. Okay. And when you say when you train them, do you train them in every aspect, ever play, right down from the catcher to the outfield?
Yes, sir. We have all of our instructors are professional. They know how to do pitching, hitting, catching, fielding, whatever the athlete needs, running, athletic performance, nutrition. We take care of all that. We want to be the go-to when it comes to, the performing, the athlete on and off the field. We help them, they need help in the classroom. We try to do everything for them.
That's great. Even in the classroom, huh? Helping them be able to.
Yeah. If they're having trouble with something oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Anthony, let me explain to our listeners. There's a little bit of a lag in the internet. So if we sound like we're trying to talk over the top of each other, it's not on purpose. So Anthony, you go ahead and finish that thought. Okay.
But no, if they're having trouble with something, and something that the parents can't, or the kid wants us to help them with, we try to do the best we can. We kind of be mentors to them. If they're playing a game on a Saturday, the instructors will go and watch them and help them, and they're part of our family, so we want to, we want to be part of theirs also.
That sounds good. And do you have your own gym or gym equipment that they use, or do you recommend they join a local gym?
No, we have our own training facility. We have 5,000 square feet. We have, nets, tees, batting cages, pitching machines, always someone there to help out. We've got membership programs for a certain dollar amount a month. The student can come up and hit 24 hours a day. I mean, there's a lot of stuff involved. We've got personal plans to help with arm care. Parents send us videos. We analyze those. So, we pretty much do whatever it takes to help the athlete.
That sounds great. And I suppose since you said baseball and softball, it's male or female that you help, either boys and
absolutely,
girls, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The swing's the same. Fielding a ground ball is the same. The only difference is pitching. We've got ladies that play softball that come in and help with the softball pitching lessons. But it's male, female. It's whoever needs help, we help them.
Do you have an age range, Anthony?
No, I have. I've got students as young as 4 that go up through college. So it just varies. Obviously the 4-year-olds have to, be able to pay attention a little bit. But definitely I've got some 4-year-olds as well. They start them young.
That's great. That's good to know. And you're located there in
Absolutely.
Cleveland. And good
We
place.
are. Oh yeah, 3109 Fraser Park. Yeah, it's right in the middle of town, basically.
Okay. Well, I tell you, how did your journey get you here? Tell me a little bit about your journey, how it got you to the baseball mission.
Yeah, well, played high school ball, played in college. Grew up just always teaching. Just did lessons for a buddy of mine who owned the mission before I did, and then just liked it and just bought it and just been doing it ever since. Just always wanted to teach and learn and be a mentor to the kids. And my son played ball, played through college, and so it's just something we've always done.
Anthony, when I'm listening to you talk, I think it sounds amazing, but I can hear in the back of my head some people saying, well, why should I have to pay somebody to teach my child? Is it if you're just an athlete, you're a natural athlete and you don't really need any help? What can kind of help us with myths and misconceptions that some people have?
Oh, sure. A lot of the misconceptions is that, the child would just get better in practice, that they don't need any extra work. But if you think about it, a coach has 12 to 13 kids on a team. And if it's a 2-hour practice, that's not a lot of time per kid. And then if they don't work at the house, then they're not going to get any better, because you can't do something once a week and expect results. And then, how it is, a lot of times the kid will not listen to the parents. Doesn't matter if the parents are professional baseball players. The child will not listen to them because it's dad or it's mom. And that's where we come into play, because they'll listen to us, even though we could be saying the same exact thing, but they listen and they do what we want them to do. That's just how families work. So that's where we come into play.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. People, the children listening to you because you're kind of an outside third party
Absolutely
figure.
Yeah.
So
and then instead of dad, they think dad's just yelling at them. It's just, so it's where we come in.
Well, especially I think about the training aspect of it, especially if you've got a child who has a really interest in playing. That's just what they talk, they eat it, they sleep it, and you're looking further down the road at possible college. I mean, definitely they're going to have a higher competition level there. So you want them to get all the training and benefit they can from learning every aspect that they could benefit from way before it gets there.
Absolutely. And nowadays the rise of travel ball over recreation ball is huge. So, competition's definitely fierce. So the more training you get, the better you're going to be. And then playing at a higher level gets you in front of more colleges. So that means more opportunities.
How do you feel like that child A that has had no additional training versus child B that has a lot of different training and coaching? How do you think that reflects when a scout comes around and he's looking for someone to offer a scholarship to?
Right. Well, generally when a child that has not been trained or doesn't play at a higher level has a hard time even playing high school ball, to be honest. If they're a senior and they've never been taught the fundamentals, then they're not going to be as successful even playing in high school or college. The scout will know by body language. They'll know by how they act, especially how they perform. That's the key, is how they perform in front of people.
Yeah, I guess if you watch somebody that had that next level of training versus somebody that even if they have a natural talent, you could probably tell the difference in them just how they throw the ball, or they, like you said, they field that catch.
Right, absolutely. And it's like anything else. You can't be a professional piano player without having an instructor show you how to play the piano.
Yeah,
so it's all about the training.
It's always better when somebody's there to point out the little things. You speaking of piano, I took piano lessons when I was a child, and the lady that gave me piano lessons, she was classically trained, and she could tell me things that nobody would have caught. What position I was holding my hands in, my fingers, everything.
All
So
right.
that's a good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was
Absolutely.
thinking about you outside of work, Anthony. A lot of people are like, okay, this man, he gives baseball. What do you do outside of work for fun?
Well, we, obviously, we're really active in our church. We do visits, and we go to the North Bradley Church of Christ, so we do a lot of visiting, a lot of outreach. Baseball, this weekend we're headed to Atlanta for the Miami Georgia Tech game.
Oh,
So
wow.
my son coaches a high level travel team, 15-year-olds, and so we travel with him and do all that. So baseball is pretty much every weekend and every day of my life, just about.
Baseball and church. That's what you do for fun, right?
That's it. Absolutely.
I tell people where you go to church ain't fun. You need to find somewhere that is. I mean, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, kind of talk to us about for a moment. You're a business owner. You're helping a lot of kids out there, and sometimes sometimes people get caught up in the thing. Well, look how good Anthony is. He ain't never had any problems. He ain't never had any trouble. He played ball in college, but you ever, looking back in your life, have you ever went through any hardships or life challenges maybe that, now that you've rose above it and you look back, you can say, hey, I went through that, but I'm stronger and better for it today.
Oh, absolutely. COVID, being a small business owner, especially one that deals with the public one-on-one, COVID was a disaster. We had to shut down. Some of the older kids would still come, but the younger kids didn't. Financially, it was really difficult. But just faith and prayer, we just kept moving forward. And we got through that. And then, people that know me know I'm pretty injury prone. So I had 2 major surgeries last year that was out of work for 3 months. So that was a difficult challenge. I had people step up and help, so that was good. But just know that, you just don't give up. God's got a plan for you. You just have to understand it and just go with it. And that's where we're at now. And, we're busy, we're successful. We've helped a lot of people. So we're just going to continue the plan.
And if someone, I'm just curious about this, just curiosity question from me. How far have you had somebody to come for these coaching lessons?
Oh, we work with kids from from far as, Fannin County, Georgia, all the way down. We have Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. So we've got 4 states that we deal with: Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee. So they travel a long way because they know that we do a good job and they can trust what we do.
I was going to say, people don't drive from Alabama to Cleveland unless they're going for something that they really want. Correct. Or they really like, one or the other.
That's exactly right. Yes. And we're probably one of the longest active training facilities still around. There's others, but we've been around the longest. Okay. There's been 15 or 20 that have opened and closed since we've been in business. So me and the guys we do something right, and we're thankful.
Sounds like it. If there was one thing that you wish that our listeners could know about, either about your business or what you do, that they wouldn't know unless you told them, what would that be?
That we're more than just, we want your kid to get better. But we also want them, if they're a boy, we also want them to grow up to be good, good husbands, good fathers. And that starts at a young age. There's a lot of kids that just don't have a good, a good family life, and we want to help them and kind of guide them, be mentors for them as well. But it's, baseball is not the only thing. You got to have all aspects. You got to be spiritually sound, physically, mentally. It all comes together, and that's what we focus on every day. Every day we're there.
So not just being a good athletic.
No, that's a small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. So not just being a good athletic example, but also being a good moral example.
Correct, because baseball and softball, they're going to end for everyone. It's just a matter of when. It's not it's not forever. It could be when you're 10 or it could be when you're 30. It's going to end for somebody. So then what are you going to do? So if you've spent your life not being a good person, not helping others, then what? So that's what we try to start at that young age and getting these guys to understand that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know there's probably the people out there that's going to see this recording. They're going to go, okay, this sounds great. How do we get in touch with them? So I guess you've probably got social media. You've got online and offline ways of people reaching out to you. So share that with us.
Sure. You can go to our Facebook page, which is pretty much our number one thing. It's just type in The Mission. And there's a couple of other options, but just The Mission, and you'll see a logo. Click on that, join our Facebook page. We've got almost 5,000 followers, so we're trying to get to that 5K. Or you could call me directly at 423-310-1246, and we'll definitely get you in.
That sounds great. I thank you for being on the program today, Anthony. It's been very interesting. I didn't know there was a place like this in Cleveland, so really glad to know you're out there for their kids.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you having me on here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you came today, and to all the good neighbors of Cleveland and the Chattanooga area, Dalton, all around. He was talking about 4 states that they've had people coming from: North Carolina, Alabama. After meeting Anthony and learning more about the mission, the baseball mission, and he said it was the mission, but also make sure when you put in the search engine you put Cleveland, Tennessee, so we're making sure you get the right mission. But I know he hopes you'll take a moment to consider everything they have to offer, and remember them. If you've got that child that just really has a strong interest, or you just want them to get some training in something besides their video games and their cell phone, right? And you want to get that kid out there, boy or girl, he said, they'll help both of them to teach them how to pitch, how to bat. I'm sure they'll find the right place for them where their talents work best, whether it's infield, outfield, whatever it is. And you contact them, check it out. Let them check your son or daughter out and see what they think, and talk to them about it. You never know. It may be in 10 years from now, you may look back and say it's the best thing you ever done for your child. So,
we've lost you.
And before ending this episode, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to visit with us at the Good Neighbor Podcast. And always remember to support the locally owned and or operated businesses in Cleveland and the greater Chattanooga area. This is Scott Howell with the Friends and Neighbors Group. Let's go out and make this a remarkable day.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpcleveland.com. That's gnpcleveland.com, or call 423-380-1984.